So today I'm going to take you through a new project called the Nuer Literacy Initiative, which has been funded by the Arts and Humanities Research Council in the UK to support the development of Nuer literacy tools. The goals of the project are to address the inequalities in access to literacy for people whose mother tongue is Nuer. So the basic idea is that we want to support literacy development in the Nuer language. And one of the best ways of doing this is to create a body of literature that can engender a love of reading in children from a young age. And to do this, we're going to use new technology that will support community-led production of culturally appropriate literacy resources. So the purpose of the project is to create new books in Nuer for children to read. And these are going to be culturally appropriate ones, so ones which are suitable for the Nuer community, which touch on themes which are likely to be present in the lives of the Nuer community members. To do this, we're going to hold some workshops online, which we will invite Nuer community members to participate in. And two of these workshops will be translation workshops. And this will involve translating existing literature to generate a large body of literature for children. But we'll also hold creation workshops to generate original Nuer stories. And ultimately, our goal is to publish 44 new digital books in Nuer on the African Storybook Reader app, which I'll introduce to you in a moment. So these digital books will be freely available to anybody who has access to the internet. But we'll also publish 14 original stories that will be illustrated as well. And these will have been written in Nuer, not translated. And these will be printed in 3 64-page books and then distributed to Nuer-speaking communities. I've mentioned that this project is funded by the Arts and Humanities Research Council, but it has several project partners. Two of these are academic partners. So the University of Surrey, where myself and Matthew are based, and the University of Edinburgh, where Tatiana is based, are the two university institutions behind this. But we also have other partners in the project, the Nuer lexicon community of Nuer speakers being one of the most important ones, because this is the community that we're trying to engage with. But also the African Storybook Initiative run by SADI, which is the South African Institute for Distance Education. And this NGO are helping us by facilitating the workshops that we're going to hold with Nuer speakers. So the core of this project is centered around the African Storybook Initiative, which is an initiative set up by SADI to create storybooks in African languages which are culturally appropriate. And the basic idea behind their project is that they've created a series of storybooks which are written in either English or a language of Africa, an indigenous language of Africa, and then translated into other African languages so that readers can have access to a large library of books. And these are available online for free. And there is an app designed for you to use these books on your telephone. And you can download these books to your telephone. So anybody who has access to the internet to download the books can then look at the books at any time that they like. The other aspect of this is that you can make your own stories using this book, and that's the African Storybook Maker. And so once we've started this process of holding workshops, we hope that it will encourage people to make their own storybooks using their own pictures beyond the lifespan of the project. I'll illustrate what the African Storybook Maker looks like at the end of this presentation. The types of storybooks, though, that are available online are have the format, the kind of format that you can see here. So this is an online storybook, and I've just taken some shots of what the individual pages of the storybook look like. And they all have a similar format. They have a cover page where you have the author and the illustrator of the images provided. then there's a small amount of text on each page accompanied by an image. And you can see that these images are very high quality, they're professional standard images. So the books that are created using the app are really, really nice and user-friendly. Now, our goal is to use workshops, online workshops with Nuer community members to create translations of existing storybooks and to create some new original literature in Nuer. So I'll take you through each of these two types of workshops so you can understand how they're going to work. There will be 2 translation workshops, but just 1 creation workshop, because the creation workshops take place over a longer period of time. So the goal of the translation workshops is to create a body of literature in Nuer based on existing literature. And the workshops will be facilitated by the African Storybook Initiative team and the Nuer Literacy Initiative team. So we'll be there together with the participants facilitating these workshops. And they're going to take place in January and March 2022. And there'll be up to 20 participants per workshop. And in the first workshop, there'll be a different set of people than in the second workshop. So we want to maximize getting as many people involved as possible. The funding that we've received from the Arts and Humanities Research Council gives us the opportunity to reimburse participants for their time and their internet costs. So nobody should lose out in terms of the time that they've contributed to the workshops. And the workshops will take place over several hours of a single day. So it may be that it's 3 or 4 hours of time. And the goal of the workshops is to take existing storybooks like the one I just showed you and translate it into Nuer. So these storybooks already have images, and we need to select and translate different storybooks which are at different levels of difficulty for Nuer readers to ensure that we've got an opportunity to progress through the reading potential of these individuals. Our goal is to translate 30 digital storybooks into Nuer, and these will be available online only. 15 will be translated as part of the first workshop and 15 as part of the second workshop. So this is how it will work. First of all, we need to recruit participants from the Nuer lexicon community. And these are likely to be participants who've been engaging a lot in the discussions that we've already been having online, but they need to be literate in Nuer to be able to participate. Participants then attend the workshops online, and as part of the workshops, they'll work in small groups to translate selected texts into Nuer. And once we've created these translations, we'll share them with the Nuer lexicon community to fine-tune the orthographic representation, so how the texts are actually written, to discuss any problems that will come up for speakers of different dialects, for instance, so we can meet a consensus on exactly how they're going to be represented. And then once we've agreed on this together as a community, the translations will be published online using the African Storybook Maker app. And these will then be available for anybody to access free of charge. The second type of workshop, which takes place over a few days, is a creation workshop. And the idea is here that we will be creating new original stories in Nuer, which will then be published online on the African Storybook app with original illustrations, which we have commissioned to illustrate those stories. So the idea is here that we're going to pull together some Nuer authors and ask them to write some children's stories that we will then publish. And once they've been published online, we'll actually be printing these stories, the original stories, and distributing them across East Africa. Once again, the funding covers the cost to reimburse participants for their time and their internet costs. So anybody who takes part in the creation workshop will have their time compensated. There's space for up to 20 participants, and this will take place in June 2022. The workflow for this workshop is slightly different. Participants are recruited from a pool of previous workshop participants. So most of the people who are involved in the creation workshop will already have been involved in a translation workshop. So this is an important property of our workflow here. In the workshop, participants will learn how to write and edit their own stories that they're going to write themselves in Nuer. And once these stories have been written, we will then commission the illustrations for selected stories, and text will be checked with the Nuer lexicon community. Then the original text and translations from Nuer into English will be published online and eventually printed in physical books and distributed in East Africa. Now, there are some important points about the distribution and licensing of these stories that it is really important that participants understand before they join a workshop. All of the new storybooks, whether translations or new original stories, will be made available in the African Storybook app. So this means that anybody anywhere in the world can read them and access them without having to pay anything. This includes Nuer readers who will be able to access them for free at any time via a mobile, tablet, or laptop. None of the books will ever be sold. All of the physical books will be given away for free to schools and community groups. And so we won't ever be making a profit from any of these activities. The whole point of the activity is to jointly create some materials that everybody can access. And the way that people get credited for their work is on the books themselves. And you can see here the final page of one of the books. And what it's got is a statement at the top which says that anybody using the app is free to download, copy, translate, or adapt the story and use the illustrations as long as they attribute the authors and translators and illustrators and copyright holders of that book. So in this example, you can see that there are several different authors of the book. They created the book together as a team. Then there are a couple of translators who translated the book. There is an illustrator who wrote the book, and we can also see what language it's in and what level it is. And so there are levels of storybooks that some are very simple and some are very complex, and we want to generate several different types as part of the project. So an important thing to bear in mind is that anybody who contributes to this project will need to agree to let their work be used, be translated and published for free under this particular licensing arrangement. And now it's over to you for any questions you might have about the Nuer Literacy Initiative and the goals of our project.